Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to PMDC online lecture room. This is Mussarat Khan, lecturer at PMDC Girls Peshawar. Topic of today's lecture is from the first chapter, education. Topic is scope of education. I'm going to explain these few things in this topic. I'm going to define the scope of education and give you explanation of the cognitive change, the affective change, and the competence change. What is the scope of education? Scope of education means the range of education, the breadth, the comprehensiveness, and the variety of learning experiences that are provided to the individuals. You can also say what are the benefits of or advantages of education, which means what we are going to achieve through education. So the subject matter or the scope of education is as wide as life, because education provides you knowledge or the information. It provides you skills of living in the society. It modifies your behavior. Therefore, it results in the cognitive change, the affective, and the competence change. So what are these three types of changes? First of all, I'm going to give you explanation of the cognitive change. Cognitive change is the change in your level of knowledge, the facts, the processes and definitions or concepts, etc. Simply speaking, cognitive change is what you learn through your books. You learn different definitions, different concepts, different formulas, reading. All these things lead to change in your information or knowledge level. So education changes or increases your knowledge level and adds to your knowledge level. This change leads to the clarity. Clarity, you are clear and you understand the different concepts of life. And then this change is based on research and identification of new knowledge, obviously through experiences. The second one is the affective change. Affective change means change in attitude, behavior, or habit. Now, how education is responsible for this change in the students? First of all, attitude means way of thinking. If attitude of a person is positive, resulting behavior will be positive, and that repeated behavior will turn into the habit of the individual. But if the attitude is नेगेटिव, द वे ऑफ थिंकिंग इज़ नेगेटिव, रवैया जिसे आप कहते हैं वो नेगेटिव है, द रिजल्टिंग बिहेवियर विल बी नेगेटिव एंड दैट रिपीटेड बिहेवियर विल टर्न इनटू हैबिट. नाउ थ्रू एजुकेशन we can educate a person that this way of thinking is negative and that's bad, and then through education we can make that person think again and work on changing that negative attitude to positive attitude. Clear? That's why education is important in bringing up a positive change in your attitude and behavior. All the educational institutions are the social institutions. In that institutions, students have environment of learning all these different values. How? Because the student spend time with the society and people with there. That's why he or she faces different situations, and there he or she learns how to behave in society and keeps on changing and bringing a positive change in his or her behavior. A few examples of these Effective changes are tolerance, obviously, जिसे आप कहते हैं सब्र, patience, सब्र, and accepting or rejecting others' point of views with logic. These are a few examples of effective change, and I'm hoping it's clear. The third one is competence change. Competence change means the learning of new skills. This is also called psychomotor change. Now, through education, we can have perfection in our skills. Reading, writing, speaking, driving, cooking, gardening, all these are a few examples of skills. And through education, we can have perfection or improvement in these skills. Therefore, education is responsible in a competence change of the students. Now, after explaining the scope of education and the three different types of changes that can occur through education, now what are the important questions related to this topic for your bias examination? Discuss how education can cause competence or psychomotor change in people. Then important MCQs. Formation of attitudes and habits is called dash change. Effective change. Competence change is also called psychomotor change. Now time of your turn of this process. You have to answer these questions briefly. Define the scope of education. Write briefly about the competence change by education. I hope this lecture is clear enough. If you have any questions or suggestions, you can ask through this email address. Thank you. Allah Hafiz.